Kerr, the arts editor for the Conway Daily Sun, and I'm here with the director and the leads of two Arts in Motion productions, Legally Blonde the musical and Mary Poppins. So hello, welcome.
Hello.
So Legally Blonde is up first. So let's talk about Legally Blonde. How's that going?
It's going really well. Basically, this is our 2-week, we call it 2-week teen intensive, but really it's 9 days essentially, where teenagers in the Valley sign up, and we auditioned through like a recorded audition video. So we sent a dance portion for them to learn, and then they learned that, filmed it, and sent it in. And we cast roles accordingly. And then for 9 days, we put together a full-blown musical, a 2.5-hour show in 9 days. So Ava is playing the lead in that show right now, Elle Woods. Do you want to talk about the show a little bit?
Sure. It's basically, it follows Elle Woods, who's your very traditional sorority girl from Malibu. And she's in a relationship with her boyfriend, Warner, and he's heading off to Harvard Law. And she thinks he's going to propose, but he ends up breaking up with her. And so she kind of puts together this very far-fetched plan, I guess, to follow him to Harvard, and kind of realizes her true worth along the way.
Yeah. So clearly, based on your description, Legally Blonde is about people judging you based on your appearances. Yeah. And you can all answer this. Have you ever been judged based on your appearance and kind of surprised people?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think everybody does a little bit. I mean, this obviously is not my actual hair color, but I am actually blonde still. And so, like, I use the phrase, like, oh, sorry, I just had a blonde moment, like, all the time. So I think it's just kind of like a natural thing, even just to judge yourself a little bit, I guess. But
yeah, and entering situations, I mean, you know, we say, oh, it's 2024, but I still enter situations where I feel as a female, I'm being judged on my gender or how I look, or I'm someone who looks a little bit younger than I actually am. And, and you know, and people might place a judgment based on that, based on my experience, and that's just okay, you know? That kind of stuff is just out of our control.
It's just life, yeah.
But it also feels great to prove them wrong on the other side.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is very much what Elle Woods has to go through.
Yes, exactly.
And also just sort of discovering in herself, like, oh wait, there is more to me than even I knew.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like, you know, she knows that she's this different person and everybody else doesn't, but she's very much convinced by the people around her and even by herself that there's only so much to her. And, you know, her journey in Cambridge and in law school kind of makes her realize, like, there's so much more that she didn't know about herself.
In rehearsals, we actually were talking about, not to spoil the plot or anything, but she finally starts this track of proving herself and then gets assaulted by one of her college professors. So we were trying to work through that scene, and I was talking to Ava about your one thing that you knew that you had, your one power of sex appeal is now being used against you. And so it's a very tough scene to kind of get into when this character had, her one thing that she had is now being used to damage her. So that's the other thing about the one thing that she did know she had is hurting her in a certain way. So it goes back to show, you know, you can't always judge a book by its cover, and yeah.
Yeah, and so Elle uses her very specific knowledge of hair care in a very pivotal legal scene.
Yes.
So what would your very specific knowledge base be that could save you in a court case?
Ooh.
Honestly,
Good question.
probably, I mean, I've watched the movie so many times and, like, been just reviewing scene after scene for this show that now that whole, like, hair scene at the end is, and the whole reckless abandonment thing that she does right before Act 2 is very much stuck in my head. So honestly, probably that, just the way it's, like, lingering, like, in the back of my brain all the time.
Legally Blonde quiz questions.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
gosh, for me, well, I suppose I am a big theater nerd. Like, I
Yeah.
don't realize how much of a theater nerd I am until I'm around normal people. And if you've ever played the Heads Up version, that's the theater version, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, everyone knows this musical. You know,
Yeah.
no, they don't. So then maybe that, or maybe if I was in some situation where it was like, if you're going to win this, if you're going to survive, you have to get this jigsaw puzzle done. And I might be able to get the pieces in there
Yeah.
in time to save the day.
Yeah. Do you have a?
I really don't know. I've been learning a lot about hair care through these people. They were like, you've never done anything? And I, like today I was saying, there was one time I've always wanted curly, short hair. And in college, I bought an in-home perm kit and attempted, and it didn't go very well. So that's kind of my knowledge on hair care and salon personal maintenance. But I've been learning a lot through them, actually. And I don't really do much in that category, so.
So, how has it been directing these two shows back to back? Have they bled into each other at all? Is a little Legally Blonde in Mary Poppins, little Mary Poppins in Legally Blonde? Have you found overlap?
First, it's been nuts. So for those who don't know our schedule, it is like 8:30, 9-ish to about 3. And then we have a couple hours off, and then we have Poppins rehearsal from 5 to 8 usually. So it's been an all-day thing for the past week and a half, and that will go until this show opens this weekend. So it is very much a what show am I doing right now kind of month. But the main thing that I've pulled out of everything is just the female power of this summer season of shows. It's like, this strong character of Mary and the strong character of Elle, and we have these two women figures who kind of show up and change everything in every production, which is really cool. So.
Now, obviously, both of these are based on movies, and there will definitely be certain people that go to these productions who have not seen it before. Certainly Legally Blonde, at least with Mary Poppins, they'll be familiar with the music. So how do you kind of balance playing into what people expect to see, but also keeping it fresh?
So, well, there are certain things, especially that are pulled out of the films for both of them. Certain lines, certain lyrics in the music. We tried to keep some characters very much the same in Blonde, like Paulette, the hairdresser, is very much the
Jennifer
Well,
Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge is so iconic.
You can't really be like, no, she's not going to be like that. She's going to be, a tight-laced person. So that character is very much the same. Elle Woods is pretty much the same. Although I have noticed you play it with this very realistic spin, which is kind of cool. I don't think I've ever told you that, but it's a very, especially the scenes where she decides she's leaving and she gives up. It's a tearjerker for sure. It's very raw and real, which is awesome. But let's see, where do we leave off?
Today, where do we leave off? Or like
In the question.
I would say, I mean,
how they're different and similar.
I think like from an actor's perspective, it's kind of nice because Kelley's got a lot more options in the Mary Poppins department because that's a book and a movie and a musical. But for Elle, I kind of have these two, obviously with every role you make it your own, but I have these two figureheads. I've got obviously Reese Witherspoon from the movie, and then I have Laura Bundy from the musical. And so it was nice to sort of do my own thing, but also have two very different, very successful and talented women as well to kind of look to, I guess, and also sort of to bring, women from my life that I look up to and kind of bring them into Elle and find parts of them that are similar to the character as well.
Yeah, I Mary Poppins came back to pop culture with the remake of the movie and Lin-Manuel Miranda's choreography and all of that. And I think personally as an actor, I make it a point to not do too much research and not watch the movie and watch the scenes too much while I'm learning a piece and while I'm making my own choices, because I'll just copy what the originals did.
Right.
But
Well, how hard is it
you
to
must
avoid?
pay homage to
Right.
some of those bits.
I was
you
gonna say,
know,
how
there's
hard is
certain
it
things.
to avoid doing the Julie Andrews voice?
I think my voice already, I think I'd learned how to sing from Julie Andrews,
Yeah,
honestly.
I was gonna say the cadence of
So-
your speaking voice is quite honestly very similar as it is.
Yeah, I and it's not my first time playing a Julie Andrews role, so you know, but I just try and make sure that I bring myself into the role, and if anything, I would want to replicate her manner and her energy than I would necessarily the lilts in her voice.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was just kind of getting at. It's kind of hard trying to find that balance. Like even Emily Blunt had to do that exact same voice and cadence because that was sort of the expectation because that is Mary Poppins. That's what we see Mary Poppins as. But finding that essence that is you to put in there.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing. So I kind of go the opposite direction of I dive really deep into everything. And so it was tricky kind of trying what you guys are saying about pulling things from the book, but also keeping true to the movie because everyone knows the movie, especially the newer movies. So the original book, I'm just finishing up now, but originally P.L. Travers, who wrote the novel, hated the Disney film, like despised it. She thought Disney, the original book is actually very, very dark. And Mary Poppins is almost like a witch. So when Disney got his hands on the film idea of it, he kind of tweaked it to move it to like a family-friendly version of that novel. So that being said, I've tried to sprinkle a little bit of the book, a little bit of the movie into this show, but it's very much like we were saying, like we do put our own spin on certain things. The Jolly Holiday Park scene, we will have the dress from the red and white dress from the movie. So we're kind of paying homage to certain aspects without totally copying it as well. Yeah.
So you said in your director's notes about how Mary Poppins is very much a person that comes into people's lives when they need her.
Yes.
So for each of you, has there ever been that moment where somebody came into your life right when you needed them?
Yeah, I think in a variety of ways. I kind of personally dedicate this show to everyone who has shaped me as a child, whether it's Dennis and Marie Barker, who you know very well. They used to babysit me since I was a child, and I've gotten involved with theater really through Dennis. And you know, my family who care for me, or grandmothers who are not biologically my grandmother, but act as that figure in my life. Everything from that to a romantic partner who came in when I really needed to learn something, and then maybe that didn't end really well, and that person left my life, but at least I learned something from that experience. So that's kind of what I see in that character. It can range from anything from just a best friend to a romantic friend to a mentor to anything, really.
Yeah, I would say I talk about it in my bio for Poppins a little bit, but I would say like my mom is like my real life Mary Poppins. Obviously, she's does a lot for this community, and people know her in a bunch of different ways, similar to Mary Poppins. Like everybody sort of has a different view of her. They all see her in a little different way. But I mean, she truly is just like a really magical human being. I mean, come home from school and she's making props for a junior show, or I'm in college and she's surprising me in Boston. I have no idea, and like stuff like that. So she really is always there, like when I need her.
Sweet. I like I live by everything happens for a reason mentality, and I found that to be so true in my life. And when I was growing up, theater came into my life at a young age, and a friendship came into my life when I was like a Girl Scout. And it's thanks to that friendship that it brought me, onto the she was so into theater and so passionate about theater, and she was so bold and, you know, easy to be herself, and I loved that in this person. And this is a friend of mine when I was 10, 11, 12. And it's amazing how those friendships can really mold you into the things that you want to chase in the show. And the children I'm working with in the show, the Janes and the Michaels, the Banks are 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah.
And they are so sweet, and I see so much of my youthful self in them. And I love that they're doing this at their age, and it's such a passion for the youth in this town, in this community. And yeah, you know, celebrating, I think the show not only celebrates those mentors that we have growing up and the people who teach us along the way and the people who help us along the way, the good old chimney sweeps. Everyone needs one of those. But also, you know, that the celebration of, it's the celebration of joy and family is really the message that I get from it. And it's the summertime, and it's family time, and 4th of July. So it's really a heartwarming message.
Yeah. So Mary Poppins is known for her magical bottomless bag. So what would you pull out of the magical bottomless bag?
You ask good questions.
I
Yeah,
was
this
thinking
is-
about it.
Probably snacks.
Just endless snacks.
Yeah. I mean, for myself and for others, I feel like I'm always like,
And you could do international
worst
snacks. All those
times.
snacks from
Exactly.
around the world
Around
that
the
you can't
world.
get. Just pull them out.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah, I
one.
love that idea actually.
A coffee.
A coffee.
Oh,
Like an espresso machine, just pull it out.
Oh gosh.
I think I would just love to have the bag, not for an accessory item, but
Yeah.
like I could just pull whatever I wanted out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I needed to solve world hunger, if I
Yeah.
needed this, anything.
I'm on the side of the road with a flat tire.
Yeah.
Tire.
Spare tire.
Whole other car.
Yeah, a whole Tesla.
New car.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I think it's the grand old genie in a bottle idea too.
Yeah.
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 So what are the dates for all of these shows?
So we open Poppins this weekend, which is
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde.
sorry.
What show are you on?
Do you remember when we talked
that-
about 2 shows at one time?
Where are you right now?
We opened Legally Blonde this weekend. That's July
5th through the 7th.
5th through the 7th. And then Poppins opens the 18th and runs all the way to I think the 27th, right? 28th, all the way to the end of the month. So
And
yeah,
Legally Blonde is at the Majestic in Conway.
Yes.
And Mary Poppins is at the Laura Hill Eastman Performing Arts Center, which is a mouthful to say out loud,
yes,
in Fryeburg.
yes,
Yes. Fryeburg Academy.
Fryeburg Academy
Yeah.
campus.
So yeah, and I guess the final question is, are you just looking forward to it? Has this been a wonderful
Boy.
experience?
Yes. Get your tickets now because they will sell out. Poppins is the largest show I think Arts in Motion has ever done. There will be flying. There will be magic. There will be, at one point,
Incredible
there's a real
sets.
huge water fountain that comes on stage and actually is a real water fountain. I mean, the set is ginormous. It's huge. I don't even know what else to say about it. It's pretty spectacular. So get your tickets now. Legally Blonde is just so impressive that these teens can pull this off in 9 days. It is a full show. The singing, the acting, the dancing.
And the dog, don't forget
And
the
the
dog.
dog, one of the stars of the show here,
Been here the whole
Bruiser.
time.
2 dogs.
We have 2 dogs. It's also the Summer of Dogs. We've got dogs
the Summer of Dogs.
in Legally Blonde, and we've got dogs in Poppins. So yeah, they're all really impressive shows this summer. So get your tickets
Yeah.
now.
And I mean, it's always a treat when you get to, I don't want to speak for Kelley, but I'm sure she feels the same way. Like when you get to play such an iconic character in like any capacity, I guess. And so, I mean, I've loved the movie Legally Blonde since I was very young and saw it for the first time. I mean, everybody kind of looks up to Elle Woods in a way. And so, I mean, kind of being able to bring her to life, it has been just such a treat and such a joy. She's rubbed off on me, I think, in the best of ways. So that's just, I'm very excited to share that with everybody else as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I ditto what she said.
All right. So tickets are available at artsinmotiontheater.com. So go there and get your tickets now.